Hi everyone and welcome back to the Roticude podcast. Hope you guys have had a good couple of weeks and it's been really warm here, but it's been very nice. So in today's episode I wanted to talk about bookshops in London that I really would like to go to. There are so many that I've been wanting to go to for a long time, so and I mean there's so many beautiful bookshops around the world anyway, so although this episode I'll be talking about the ones in London that I'd like to go to. If you're not in London but are a book lover, you can put these on your bucket lists for when you do come to London, or if it might inspire you to kind of look in your area to see if there are any bookstores that you want to go to. There were two that I found in different countries. There was one in Florence, Italy, which was really cool. It was like a theatre, and they'd converted one of the theatre halls into a bookshop. So that was really interesting, so I really would like to go there. And then there was also a really nice one in Istanbul in Turkey, Minoa Pera bookstore, and it has like a staircase going up, like a spiral staircase with books in it. It just looks really fun. So yeah, there's so many bookshops, so maybe this will inspire you to look at the bookshops that you have. And I decided to break it down into categories, so I've done like the prettiest, the oldest, the most famous, the most unique. And then I'm also going to talk about a famous road in London, which has been nicknamed Booksellers Row because there's so many bookshops on there. I think there's like a lot of secondhand bookshops or like themed bookshops, so that's quite cool to look at. So yeah, maybe these categories, you can use them to see if in your area you can find the prettiest, the oldest, the most famous and the most unique. So yeah, the first bookshop that I wanted to talk about is Daunt Books, and I chose it as the prettiest bookshop in London. Daunt Books is in Marylebone? Marylebone? I still don't know how to pronounce that. Marylebone? Anyways, it's in the centre of London, which I found out that all of these bookshops are in the centre of London, so I don't have to keep repeating that. It's an independent bookshop founded in 1990 by James Daunt. And James Daunt is an interesting guy because he actually is like the managing director of Waterstones in the UK, which is a famous bookshop chain here. But then he's also the chief executive officer of Barnes & Noble in America. I don't know if they have them in Canada too. I'm not sure. But anyways, I just think it's really interesting because when you look at Daunt Books, the bookshop, you can really see how his original independent store inspired his like decisions and contributions to the Waterstones and Barnes & Noble chains. They're just very like I don't know, very like Edwardian, I suppose, yeah, and like very calming and cozy. So yeah, Daunt Books now has several locations across London, and it also has its own publishing house, which was founded in 2010. And anyways, the original Daunt Bookshop in Marylebone, however you pronounce that, it's the most beautiful in my opinion. It is like an Edwardian style building with 2 floors, and the second floor overlooks the first floor, and so there's like lights coming down that are like green glass, so they have a very like cozy kind of librarian feel. And then they also have a basement level filled with more books. So it's a classic bookshop that just feels right out of a book. You know those books that kind of talk about bookshops or are set in bookshops? This is kind of what I'm imagining. So I really want to go to this bookshop and just explore. So when I do, I'll pop it on my Instagram. Yeah. The second bookshop in London is Hatchards, and it's the oldest bookshop in London. It was founded in 1797 by John Hatchard. I'm seeing a theme here where they will just give the names of the bookshops their last name. But Hatchards is like also in the centre of London in Piccadilly, and it's quite, because of its history, it's become very popular. So it has a lot of ties with the royal family, because Queen Charlotte, the wife of King George III, was actually one of the first customers at Hatchards. And so since then there's been a lot of ties between the royal family and Hatchards Bookshop. So there are actually 3 Hatchards bookshops in London. Piccadilly, which was the original building, and then there's St Pancras, the train station. It's a very modernised version, so it's not the same vibe. And then there's also now a Hatchards branch that was open in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire in 2022. And so Gloucestershire is more north, I think. So that's not in London. But yeah, the original building, the outside is very beautiful. It's black paint and large windows, and rather than being kind of fancy like Daunt Books, especially on the inside, it's retained like a very simple look with vintage concepts and like rustic furniture. And on the website, I think this is the coolest thing about this bookshop, is that they seem to sell a lot of unique copies of books, so special editions and things like that. So if you're looking for books like that, that might be a good place to go to. I'll let you know when I go there. But I want to buy a couple classics with like the nicer covers, so we'll see if I can find any. But it's also just fun because of the history of it to stand in a building where so many people have come over the years to buy books. And so I just think that history element is really fun. So I would be interested to go there, and I'm sure they do have more like information about the history there. So yeah, I think it'll be really fun. The third category is the most famous bookshop, which of course has to be the Notting Hill Bookshop in London. It was founded by Sarah Anderson, and this was really interesting. So her bookshop was originally called the Travel Bookshop, and she opened it in 1979 in Notting Hill, but it was actually at a different location. And so the reason why it's famous is the bookshop was chosen as the main setting and inspiration for the 1998 film Notting Hill, starring Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts. But then in 1981, Sarah Anderson, she decided to move to Blenheim Crescent, where the shop, which is now renamed to the Notting Hill Bookshop, also moved. So it's interesting because the original purpose for this bookshop that she had was that it is travel focused. So it has like maps and language learning and things like that. So and you can still kind of see that. So I've actually been to the Notting Hill Bookshop already, kind of actually just stumbled across it. And yeah, it's a very compact shop, and so now with all of the tourists that come because of its relation to the film, it is very busy. But it is really interesting that it still has a lot of its ties to its history, its origin about travel books. So when I was in there, they do stock a lot of books about travel, countries, language learning. So that's kind of a really interesting element to see that they're still kind of holding on to their origins, which is fun. But yeah, so the movie made the books shop so famous, so it's very busy. So it is a little bit difficult to navigate and to enjoy the shopping experience, but it's still nice and it's fun to see. And there is actually also a really great dessert shop nearby called the Biscuiteers, where I enjoyed a macaroon. Macaron or macaroon? No, Macron is the French president. Macaroon. They have a small garden out back and it's really fun. And I think they do like decorating classes, like cookie decorating and things like that. So, and they have the most amazing biscuits ever. So if you're into that, you can make a little day out of it. Go to the Notting Hill Bookshop and then also go there. There are a couple other bookshops around, and then there's like little markets and stuff, so you can really spend a full day in Notting Hill, surrounded, well, if you put this as the focus of your day. But yeah, so for anyone who is interested, I would recommend going to the Notting Hill Bookshop. I don't think I'll like it. I would say that I would like it as much as the first two that I mentioned, but then I haven't been to the first two, so sometimes it's always, we're always a bit more positive about the things that we don't know. Anyways, so the last book category is the most unique bookshop in London, and this bookshop is called Word on the Water, and it was founded in 2010 by 3 people. This is what, according to Google, so don't take my word for it, but Stefan Chodar, Jonathan Privet and Paddy Screech. And I feel like there's a couple different like partners and things in it now. But the bookshop is nicknamed the London Book Barge because it's on a 100-year-old Dutch barge. So they sell secondhand and new books, and they hold a lot of events, which is the most fun part, I think, and what makes this bookshop really unique. They do poetry slams, live jazz music on their roof stage. I feel like I might have seen them once, but I didn't realise that it was the bookshop, like this bookshop. So, but yeah, it's a really, I would recommend it if you're into having more of like an event out of books, maybe more than rather than actually buying books, but I'd have to go and see. I'm not sure. I wonder how they would be able to fit enough books into a boat, so that will be interesting. But the Book Barge is located on Regent's Canal towpath in Granary Square, and it just feels like a good place for a good time. So that's all I have to say about that one. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the Booksellers Row that I mentioned at the intro. So Booksellers Row is on Cecil Court, so that's the name of the street, and it has a range of independent sellers. And there was one that was really, really cool. There's a bookshop called, well, I don't think it's actually a bookshop, I think it's more like a merchandise shop, because it's themed on the book Alice in Wonderland. And the shop is called Alice Through the Looking Glass, and so I wonder if they'll have like special editions of the Alice in Wonderland book and other merchandise, which I would like to see. So if they do, because I don't think I've actually read the Alice in Wonderland book. I've watched the films. As you guys know, reading kind of fell off my radar for a while, so I don't think I actually read Alice in Wonderland, so I would like to maybe get a nice copy of the book and yeah, just have a look around. So they have a lot of other bookshops, but it's also not just bookshops. I saw there was like a coin shop as well, so if you guys are into that, and yeah, it's just very like English. So it just seems like a good time. So, and then I'm sure there's some good restaurants nearby as well. So, but yeah, thanks for joining me today as I talked about some bookshops in London. I had so much fun preparing for this podcast, like looking into the history of these bookshops, picking categories. So yeah, I hope that I can get to these bookshops eventually. I think the one that I'm most looking forward to is Daunt Books, but then also Hatchards because of the history. I really love history, as you guys probably have figured out by now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Let me know if you guys have ever been to any of these bookshops, or please recommend some from your countries so that if I ever do visit those, then I can go to some fun bookshops over there. Feel free to check out my Instagram at rottercube.educatorflipped, where you can see if I actually managed to get to the bookshop and what else I'm up to. And I hope you guys have a great couple of weeks, and I'll see you soon. Bye!